Yo, what's up, guys? This your boy Mike back with another segment of Mike Thoughts. We talked about finding your talents. We talked about stability. We talked about being consistent. Now you get those three Legos stacked on top of each other. The next Lego we're going to talk about is strategy. Understanding a strategy before you jump into something so you can know when it's time to get out, you can know when it's time to make a move, and you can know if it's even worth even taking on. Strategy is one of the things that's, as a man, especially as a man, you really want to develop different strategies, different game plans. That's what we call the game plans. It's like you watching the NFL game. Every team has a different strategy. Some teams going to run the ball. Some teams going to pass the ball. Some team is a more balanced approach, run and pass. Defense. Some teams they call it the Tampa 2, where everybody kind of drop in quarters and they cover the middle of the field, and they're not going to let you beat them deep. You have to kind of be methodical with your approach. So defensive strategies, cover 2, cover 3, 2-man under. So same thing in the real world. Bring it back to the real world. Strategies we're going to school. Strategy we're going finding a job. We'll focus on those two today. Going to school, finding a job. Strategy. A couple of questions you want to ask yourself. Let's start with school first. When you go to college, you want to ask yourself before you call that advisor, before you start looking at degrees, you need to go to the website of that school, look at their academic programs or degree programs and see what is some of the best degrees that provide a great career track. Now, it's so much information out there now for you to look up. You can find out, if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, um, you want to, like me, I work in IT, or you want to do other things, like say you can be a carpenter, you can be a plumber. It's so many kind of jobs. You can work for an insurance company, be an adjuster. Um, you can work for and be an accountant, and that's one job field that that pays pretty good. You just got to like numbers. Be a data analyst. You like databases and crunching numbers for companies. It's a lot of jobs out there. It's a lot of degrees out there than just general business or art and history. Nothing wrong with those degrees, but you better make sure before you step into it that you have a strategy in play so you can be able to provide for yourself or your family if you decide to take on that task of having a family. Another strategy to think about is this is how I think about it, is outside the box approach is what are some of the classes that I can take that I can leverage or increase my skill set while I'm attending school. And I know for me, with me majoring in web development now, I have to take classes in mass communications, pretty much like media production and stuff like that, marketing a little bit, making websites, content, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Um, but those skills learned, it teaches, for me, I take it and I want to learn to apply so I can work and I can do stuff on my own and freelance as well. I've always been a big skill set guy instead of concept, because when you have a skill set, you can do it whether you're working or not. If you have a knack to sell yourself and have communication to do it, skill set can take you further than concepts. Concepts is not bad, but I'm a skill set guy. I like using tools. I like as I'm getting older now, I'm starting to find those simpler skills where you don't have to have a bunch of tools or just risk doing stuff with your hands all the time, damaging your hands. But yeah, when I was younger, I was real big on skills, and I still am still big on skills. So one of the things. What class can you take? Like when I took media production, it kind of really gave me an idea on using cameras and buying professional cameras and stuff like that, and making scenes and stuff and writing and stuff like that. Teaches you those things, just touches on it. But with you touching on it, it may find something that'll stick with you so you can develop that skill while you're in class, while you're going to school. So by the time you graduate, you have it already figured out on how you want to, use that skill to your advantage. So here's the really roller coaster ride right here. Is when you go into a career or a job is something that you work and it may not be a longevity. It may be, I call it a place where you work and you just greasing the wheel. You just a cog in the wheel. You just keeping the machine going. Like most retail stores, unless you're a manager or on an executive team or something, if you're just a regular associate or something like that, all you're doing pretty much is keeping the wheel going. You're greasing the wheel. And that's what I call a job, like working at a restaurant or something like that. A career is something that you really invest your time in and you gain more experience over time and your value increase and you can command more money through sheer value and experience. And the more experience you gain in a career, the more value that you obtain and have as a leverage point to look at different other jobs in that field. So always think about that. Don't get stuck working a job. Try to figure out, have a strategy on getting into a career, something that you can invest your time in and increase your value. Another thing that I'm thinking about is a question to think about as far as your career is, what does this job have to offer me? And what I mean by that is, I was just talking about working at a retail place. Most of the time, when you're young, you work those kind of jobs because you can't really get into a career yet till you graduate high school. But, when you get older, you want to find jobs that have something to offer you, not just them take from you. You got to be able to, there got to be a give and take on both sides. Most jobs, when you work a job, they don't give you the greatest benefits because you're just there working a job. It's not a career. Most career jobs, they give you pretty good benefits. You just gotta look for them. 8 to 5. Some jobs, like I don't know, when I work at retail or like, those postal places, those are like 24 hours. Hospitals, those are 24 hours. They're 24/7. That means that they're open around the clock. So the shift you may work could change. 1 week or 1 month, it could be day shift. The next month, it could be the night shift. And the next month, you can work the graveyard shift, which is like midnight to 7 or something like that. I work in IT. Most IT jobs, the higher you go up, the most of the time, the shifts are 8 to 5, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, something like that. They're kind of flexible on your schedule. We just have to make sure you talk to your manager about it. Working at a hospital, IT, you're gonna be there 24/7. You don't work 24/7, but your shift could change. You can work 8 to 5 1 month. You can work 2 to 10 another month, and then you can work the graveyard shift another month. And sometimes you're on call. But most IT jobs, you can be on call if everything hit the fan. You might have to get there to bring everything back up. But most IT jobs, though, is on call basis. So what else do they have to offer you? Like, I know some jobs that have good dental benefits or vision benefits, flexible spending accounts. Those are good benefits to have. Experience. Some jobs you work at, you gain experience by being able to work on different things, touch different things. Like, say, if you work, let's say you're a carpenter, you work at a place and you build houses. Now you're gaining experience on building a house or building structural walls or, building in the bathroom walls and stuff like that. Working in IT, you get that experience of working on servers, working on PCs, working on laptops. That's at the help desk level. You get to the server level, you get the experience of working with different interfaces, changing usernames and working on different things in the back end. Excuse me. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Now, something you got to think about when you're making a strategy is, what value do I bring to this job? What do you bring to the job? Do you bring a good value to this job, or do you kind of make the job hard for everybody? You know, if everybody pull their own weight, everything runs smooth and efficient. But it's kind of like rowing a boat, like people rowing a boat. If you're rowing a boat, if everybody doing it, if the boat flows smooth, but if one person stop, it puts attention on everybody else, and you'll feel it too. It's kind of like when you see two people or three people lifting the couch, and then if the person, one of those dudes, not holding it or not putting his weight up under it, the other two dudes will end up feeling a lot of more of their weight than the third person. So think about that. What value do you bring to the job? Do you kind of make the culture better? Or, you know, do you communicate with everybody better? Or, you know, it's a lot of things to factor in, you know, when you're making a strategy. You know, you got to know your value. You got to know yourself. It's like knowing your talents. It all kind of blends into this. You got to know what you're good at. Like if you're not good at dealing with people, or you're not good at you know, that communication part, you know, some jobs will be a struggle for you. I know for me, when I worked at a retail place, you know, people come ask you questions. If you had on the company shirt, hey, where do I find this at? You know, if you can't find it, do you get attitude? Oh man, I don't work in the department, man. Go ask somebody else. They say, sir, I can refer you to so and so who work in, you know, hardware or something like that. You may want to go get with them, and they can give you a better result than, because I work in a different department. You know, just solving stuff like that can just make the day totally different. And you know, say customer, sometimes you get those disgruntled customers, but if you stay calm and don't react to it, most of the time, they kind of, puts them in a different place, and it kind of makes them calm down as well. So another thing is think about is, what is the ceiling for this job? Excuse me. What is the ceiling for this job? What I mean by that is there room to grow in a job? Or sometimes small companies don't have a lot of things for you to move around to. They just don't. It's just they don't have enough headroom, and they don't have enough position. Sometimes you get into those small companies, and you might get in one position, and you may not be able to move around unless you have the education component, or you're good at networking with other people. Then you can kind of get an ear of what you can move to, and how you can maneuver in a job. Bigger jobs, I know I work for the state, and they have a bunch of jobs. I mean, you can start here, but you can end up all the way up here, and they have different things for you to try and move into. And like I say, good networking skills, uh, increase your education while you're working there, and you'll be able to move up the ladder no problem. What is the financial forecast for this job? So this is something you have to do research on. This is where networking come into play. Who you know. Sometimes you know people that work there. Hey man, how is it, man? Do they give out raises? Or some jobs they don't give out raises. Some jobs, what they bring you in at, you're locked in at their rate, and the only thing you get, they call it a merit bonus, or a one-time fee, a bonus, which is uh, to me it's like a mind play almost. But what do I know? Uh, They give you a one-time bonus, but your pay never increases, but you get that one-time bonus. Like some people do it in the summer, some people do it in the fall, but you get that one-time bonus, and that's it. You don't get a 3% raise. You don't get a quarter raise or whatever. It seems like now the days of getting a raise, unless you work at a company that does that, but most places that has a system down, they don't really give out a bunch of raises. The only way you get a raise at most jobs, if you move to another position within the company. And that's why I think that's one thing that's good about the state, is that once you get your education and you can get into that system of working at the state, they have so many positions that you can go fill out for that you can do. You have a lot of flexibility to move around and try different positions and look at the salary. And another thing you got to think about is the salary range. A lot of times people look at a salary range and they say, oh, the highest it pay is 60,000, but they didn't see the 32. It's 32 to 60,000. Well, most places they may give you the starting pay. You got to read their fine print. They'll tell you this position starts at this much. And a lot of times they have that range there. You'll never get to the top of that range. It's just the reality. You won't get there because they don't give out raises. If they show you 32 to 67,000 and all they do is give out merit bonuses instead of giving you a raise, what does that tell you? You're not going to get past that, what they lock you in at. The only way you get past it, if you fill out and move to another position that's 10% more than what you're making. So let's say if you get a job, it starts out at 32,000, which those jobs still exist, which is crazy, but they're still there. The only way you're going to get a 10% raise if you get a job that's in the 40s or something like that, or that's more than that. And that's the only way you're going to get out of that position and get more money. Because waiting on them to give you more money, probably not going to happen unless you get that merit bonus. And that's only a one-time payment for that year. So once it's gone, it's gone. And you have to wait till next year again. So that financial forecast is an important piece because, sometimes you have to start somewhere in order to get to the higher financial forecast. But sometimes you got to take that hit. You got to bite that bullet and start out low just to get the experience. And then you start climbing that ladder. So, something to think about. Don't try to have a strategy for everything. Try to think about what are you doing? How is this going to work out for me? How long am I going to be here for? What's the longevity? Is this a longevity job or career? Or is this just a stepping stone to get to the main part of what I'm trying to get to in my career? You have to think about those things because sometimes you can start a job and you can get lost in working at the job. You get comfortable, you like it, but it's not the end all be all. It's not the best job in the world, but it's comfortable. I know for me, when I was in my 20s, I got a job working at Red Cross, and the job was super easy. I mean, easy money. All you had to do was deliver blood to the hospitals, and I used to work at night, the graveyard shift, and I would take blood to Jonesboro and bring it back. My manager used to tell me, man, you should go to school, man, you should go to school. I used to be like, nah, I'm good. I like this job, I'm good. I didn't realize how important having an education was because when you start looking for jobs that's paying the good money, they always have one that required education, bachelor's degree or master's degree, and equivalent experience. And another thing is, we'll talk about that later, is interview, is that communication piece. To give you something to think about now is, are you comfortable talking to strangers? Because that's what an interview is. Unless you know the person interviewing you, most of the time, you're going into a room with 2, sometimes 3, maybe even 4 strangers you don't know. You have to impress them. You have to be able to take over the room in conversation. And you have to be able to show them your value, that you bring value to this company, that hiring you is not going to be a mistake. So being able to talk to people you don't know, not comfortable with talking to, or not a part of your demographic. But, if you're an apple, are you able to talk to an orange? You know what I'm saying? If you're an orange, are you able to talk to an apple? So, adding that value and having that strategy really can help you make some solid decisions, can really have a roadmap to your success. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, is a strategy. And this is Mike. I'm signing out, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, Mike Flair, MIC FLAIR, on YouTube. I thank you for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'm signing out.